Imagine uncovering a document that could change everything you thought you knew about history. Did Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor who sentenced Jesus, leave a letter describing the Savior's very appearance? Scholars have debated this for centuries, and now ancient texts hint at details never revealed in the Gospels: the color of his skin, the shape of his face, even the expression in his eyes. Pilate, tasked with governing Judea and reporting to Emperor Tiberius, might have sent this letter to document the extraordinary events surrounding Jesus' trial and crucifixion. Why would a Roman official, known for his political caution, take the time to describe a single man? And could such a description survive the passing of nearly 2 millennia? The suspense deepens. This isn't just another story about ancient history. What if this letter reveals something intimate about the man whose life transformed the world? Could it challenge centuries of artistic portrayals and cultural assumptions about Jesus? Even today, discoveries like this capture our imagination. In 2025, historians and archaeologists are uncovering texts that shed new light on long-held assumptions about the past. Each new find can shift how we understand not just history, but faith, identity, and culture, showing us that the past still has the power to surprise us. This is why we explore mysteries like Pilate's letter, not just for curiosity, but to connect the human story with the divine, the historical with the eternal. Before we reveal the surprising details, what do you imagine Jesus looked like? Comment your vision: tall, dark, light-skinned, or something else. Reflect on why historical context and imagination often shape your perception of Jesus. Historical context and Pilate's letter. Pontius Pilate was not just a Roman governor. He was the political authority in Judea, tasked with maintaining order under the watchful eye of Emperor Tiberius. It was a volatile time. Tensions simmered between Roman rulers and Jewish leaders, and any hint of rebellion could have catastrophic consequences. Pilate's reputation in history is complex, seen by some as a pragmatic administrator, by others as a ruthless enforcer. Amid this charged atmosphere, some historical sources and apocryphal writings describe a letter Pilate allegedly sent to Tiberius, documenting the extraordinary events surrounding Jesus' trial and death. According to these texts, Pilate did more than report political unrest. He purportedly described Jesus' very appearance, his skin color, facial features, and even the aura that surrounded him. While the authenticity of this letter is hotly debated, it raises fascinating questions. Why would a Roman governor bother with such personal detail, and could any of it survive the tides of history? Modern parallels help us understand the impact of revealing hidden truths. Consider whistleblowers and investigative journalists today. They risk careers and lives to uncover facts long buried, reshaping public perception. Pilate's letter, if genuine, represents a similar moment. A glimpse behind the veil of official history, challenging assumptions and offering insight into a figure whose influence has spanned millennia. Even centuries later, debates rage over its authenticity. Some scholars dismiss it as legend. Others argue the consistency of details with known historical events makes it plausible. This tension mirrors the very human struggle to separate fact from interpretation, history from myth. Do you believe this letter could be genuine? Comment yes if you think history may have hidden facts about Jesus, or no if you are skeptical. Share why historical documents like this are often controversial, and how they shape our understanding of the past. Description of Jesus' face. According to the apocryphal letter attributed to Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor provided an unexpectedly vivid description of Jesus. The text details his hair, long but not extravagant, dark and slightly wavy, framing a face marked by both strength and gentleness. His beard is neatly kept, lending a dignified appearance, while his eyes are described as deep and penetrating, reflecting wisdom and compassion. The letter even comments on his skin tone, suggesting an olive hue consistent with a Galilean Jew of the 1st century, while the canonical Gospels rarely dwell on physical appearances. There are subtle hints that Jesus' looks were unassuming, ordinary, and perhaps easy to overlook among the crowd. Isaiah 53, 2-3 speaks of a servant without beauty or majesty, yet destined for profound significance. This contrast between Pilate's alleged detailed account and the biblical suggestion of simplicity sparks both curiosity and debate. Modern parallels abound. In 2024, a nurse in South America shared a remarkable story. A patient undergoing a near-death experience described seeing a figure radiating peace and compassion, whose face was unforgettable in its serenity and kindness. The patient's words, "His eyes looked straight into my heart, full of love and understanding," echo the features attributed to Jesus in Pilate's letter, showing that visions of him, whether historical or contemporary, inspire awe and reflection. These contemporary testimonies provide a bridge between ancient texts and modern spiritual experience. They suggest that while historical details may be debated, the impression of Jesus' character, compassion, authority, and empathy transcends time. The description in Pilate's letter may be more than cosmetic. It could offer insight into the moral and spiritual weight carried in his presence. If you could see Jesus today, what do you imagine his face looks like? Describe it in the comments. Your answer could inspire others' imaginations. Encourage viewers to share visualizations tied to personal faith experiences, dreams, or visions of Christ, fostering a community of reflective storytelling. Color of his skin and cultural context. Pilate's alleged letter doesn't stop at facial features. It reportedly describes Jesus' skin tone. According to the text, his complexion was olive, typical of the Jewish population in 1st century Judea. This detail, while seemingly small, carries profound significance. It situates Jesus firmly within his historical and cultural context, reminding us that he was not a distant abstract figure, but a man of his people and time. Historical studies confirm this. The majority of Jews in 1st century Palestine would have had olive to brown skin, dark hair, and Middle Eastern features. Even today, families across Israel, Palestine, Jordan, and surrounding regions carry strikingly similar traits. Modern photographs and familial resemblances provide a living window into what people like Jesus might have looked like, bridging ancient history and contemporary reality. Yet Western art often portrays Jesus as light-skinned with European features. This portrayal emerged from cultural and artistic traditions rather than historical accuracy, influenced by medieval and Renaissance artists who painted figures to reflect their own communities. Over centuries, these depictions shaped the collective imagination, creating an image of Jesus that differs from historical likelihood. Understanding his Middle Eastern heritage can deepen faith and connection. Recognizing the real, tangible human context of Jesus challenges assumptions and enriches appreciation for his life, teachings, and the environment in which he ministered. It also invites reflection on how culture, art, and history influence spiritual perception, sometimes creating a distance between imagination and reality. Modern connection. In 2025, scholars and educators in Jerusalem and Tel Aviv emphasize historical accuracy in biblical studies, using forensic reconstructions to help students visualize historical figures authentically. This approach demonstrates how blending archaeology, science, and faith can bring the Bible's world alive today? Does knowing Jesus' likely Middle Eastern features change how you relate to him? Comment yes or no and share why. Encourage viewers to reflect on how art and cultural portrayals influence their spiritual perception and understanding of biblical figures, Pilate's motivations and political implications. Why would Pontius Pilate go beyond recording Jesus' trial and actually describe his appearance in a letter? Some historians speculate it could have been a formal political report to Emperor Tiberius, documenting not only the legal outcome but the unusual nature of the events. Others suggest it may have been a personal note, a candid observation from a man who witnessed an extraordinary figure and moment in history. The letter's implications are significant. If true, it could reflect a Roman official recognizing the profound impact of Jesus, not merely as a political threat, but as a spiritual phenomenon. Roman authorities might have read it with caution, weighing the socio-political consequences. Jewish leaders may have seen it as confirmation of a controversial figure who challenged religious norms. Early Christians could have treated it as validation of Jesus' uniqueness, though access to such a document would have been limited. Modern parallels help contextualize the stakes. Consider whistleblowers today, journalists revealing unexpected truths about politicians or corporations. Their reports challenge public narratives, spark debate, and sometimes alter history's perception of key events. Similarly, Pilate's letter, if authentic, represents a snapshot of someone straddling loyalty, politics, and the acknowledgement of a transcendent reality. This historical intrigue invites a reflection. What motivates a person in power to document truth versus protect authority? Pilate's potential motives illuminate the delicate balance between politics, personal conviction, and historical record, a dynamic as relevant today as it was 2,000 years ago. Do you think Pilate wanted to reveal the truth or cover it up? Comment your theory. Let's discuss historical intrigue. Encourage viewers to debate the intentions of historical figures and consider how political pressures shape the preservation or suppression of extraordinary events. Connection to biblical stories. Pilate's alleged letter, describing Jesus' face and features, can be connected to the canonical gospel accounts in fascinating ways. While the Gospels focus more on his teachings, actions, and the events surrounding his trial and crucifixion, there are subtle hints about his ordinary yet compelling appearance. The letter provides a more concrete image, complementing passages such as Isaiah 53, which depict the suffering servant as unremarkable in appearance yet extraordinary in purpose. This connection raises questions of consistency and tension. The Gospels rarely give physical descriptions, emphasizing his humility and relatability. Pilate's account, if authentic, adds a layer of historical color, showing that even a Roman official noticed something remarkable about him. Such perspectives broaden our understanding of how Jesus was perceived by both followers and skeptics. Modern parallels illuminate this further. In 2023, a Syrian refugee hiding in a cave during the ongoing conflict reported a vision of a compassionate figure whose presence brought peace amidst fear. The refugee described facial features and a demeanor reminiscent of biblical descriptions of Jesus, an ordinary yet profoundly moving figure. Experiences like this echo the ancient testimonies, suggesting that encounters with the divine, whether historical or contemporary, share a common emotional and spiritual impact. These parallels bridge time, showing that while details of physical appearance might vary in historical accounts or personal visions, the essence, compassion, authority, and a transformative presence remains constant. It invites viewers to reflect on how ancient narratives and modern experiences can inform and enrich each other. Have you ever felt you saw someone or something that reminded you of Jesus? Share your story in the comments. Encourage viewers to share real-life testimonies that connect ancient biblical narratives with contemporary spiritual or miraculous experiences. Implications for faith and understanding. Jesus. Knowing what Jesus likely looked like, his facial features, skin tone, and cultural appearance can have a profound impact on personal faith, cultural understanding, and the global perception of Christianity. While his teachings, miracles, and ultimate sacrifice remain the cornerstone of belief, visualizing him in a historically accurate context helps believers relate to him as a real person who walked the earth in a tangible, human way. This understanding can also challenge long-standing cultural depictions. For centuries, Western art has shaped Jesus' image to reflect local populations, often showing him with European features. Recognizing his Middle Eastern appearance encourages a broader, more inclusive perspective, fostering cross-cultural awareness and respect. It reminds believers that Christianity transcends race and geography, rooted instead in his life, message, and love. Modern parallels highlight how historical reconstructions can enrich spiritual experience. In 2024, a church in Jerusalem used forensic reconstructions and historical research to teach children about Jesus' life. Seeing a lifelike representation of him sparked emotional engagement, curiosity, and empathy, helping young attendees connect more personally with his story. Such educational approaches bridge ancient history with contemporary faith practice, illustrating that knowing the real Jesus can deepen devotion without overshadowing the spiritual essence of his teachings. The deeper lesson is that understanding the historical Jesus complements spiritual faith. It strengthens connection, empathy, and imagination, helping believers visualize his humanity, relate to his struggles, and appreciate his enduring message. Historical truth and spiritual experience, rather than contradicting, enrich one another. How does learning about Jesus' real appearance influence your faith today? Comment your reflection. It may inspire someone else. Invite viewers to reflect deeply on how historical knowledge and spiritual perception interplay, and how this understanding shapes personal devotion. As we conclude this fascinating journey, let's recap the discoveries we've explored together. We examined the mysterious letter attributed to Pontius Pilate, which may describe Jesus' actual appearance, his face, hair, beard, and skin tone. We placed this description in cultural and historical context, reflecting the Middle Eastern heritage of first-century Judea, while also comparing it with centuries of artistic depictions that often diverged from historical reality. We connected Pilate's observations to the canonical gospel accounts, exploring both consistencies and tensions, and considered modern parallels, eyewitness visions, near-death experiences, and educational initiatives that help people today visualize Jesus in a historically accurate way. These stories bridge the ancient and contemporary, showing that Jesus' presence transcends time, culture, and imagination. The emotional takeaway is powerful. Knowing what Jesus may have looked like doesn't diminish his divinity or message. Instead, it enriches our faith, making him more relatable and human while keeping the focus on his teachings, sacrifice, and transformative love. Faith is deepened when historical understanding complements spiritual experience, offering believers both insight and inspiration. We encourage viewers to explore history and scripture hand in hand, delve into archaeological findings, study ancient texts, and reflect on modern testimonies, all of which can enhance devotion and understanding. This journey shows that discovery doesn't replace faith. It enhances connection and appreciation for the life and impact of Jesus. If this video opened your eyes, hit like, and share it with someone curious about Jesus' true story. And in the comments, let's discuss. How do you imagine Jesus' face and appearance? Ask viewers to share their thoughts and imaginations, fostering a community dialogue where historical knowledge, personal faith, and cultural perceptions can intersect. Encourage engagement, discussion, and respectful exchange of perspectives.